So what I'd like to address is what some of the early explorations are that we do before we get too deeply committed to working on a particular project. One of the first questions we ask is whether there's a good match between the kind of things we offer and what people feel they need and want. A red flag for us, for example, would be if there are only a couple of people who think it's even a good idea to have some sort of dialogue. And most others feel like things are working out just fine, or politics as usual is working out just fine. Because in a dialogue initiative, it's important that people have motivation and energy, and they have a sense of purpose for being there, and they can bring some energy to pursuing that purpose. Another issue we address is this the right time? Can people give time and energy to the initiative? Are there other things that are going on that are taking people's attention? Is there, for example, a big referendum initiative that's going to play itself out in a month? It'd be better to ask people to be involved in a dialogue effort after that has played out. Also, if there are other things going on that are related to what we're being asked to do, we'd want to make sure whatever we do is complementary to what else is going on. Another question we want to investigate early on is whether it's feasible to put together a group of people who are somewhat balanced in perspective. And not only do we want to aim for reasonable balance, but also for adequate diversity to the topic at hand. Because sometimes one of the problems that has led up to the need for dialogue is that the usual suspects are always the ones involved, and there are other people who really care about the issue but haven't had a chance to be involved. So we want to, start to ask those kinds of questions early on to get a sense of the overall picture. Another question that we want to address early on is whether the people who might be planning and convening have reasonable expectations about time. If there's a conflict that's been going on for a couple of years and it has all these layers of complexity, we wouldn't want people to think that 1 2-hour dialogue session is going to be effective in having them meet their goals. Another issue is about credibility. Whoever is inviting people into a dialogue, whether it's a planning team or a pair of people who are serving as conveners or in the facilitators themselves, you want to make sure that they are collectively trusted by the potential participants. And even if not all of them are trusted by everyone, it's good for potential participants to receive an invitation to a dialogue where they can look and they can see the name of somebody they do really trust and say, oh, gee, if so-and-so's involved in this, it's probably worth my time and energy. It doesn't have, a hidden agenda, or it's not an unbalanced kind of initiative. So if we've explored these questions, at least, in a preliminary way, and we're not seeing red flags to being involved, then a lot of those same questions will be addressed, but at a more detailed level. For example, who should be invited? What roles should people play in terms of being conveners or on a planning team? And importantly, just how should the purpose of this initiative be framed so that it makes sense to people, so that it's something that they can see is worth pursuing. Because again, that motivation and sense of appropriateness is important to the whole initiative. So after the initial explorations, that's when you get into the specifics of who, when, where, and of course the important question, why.